Okay, so we actually have some good news today. Apparently, leftists are scared of having kids. Well, that's not exactly what this article says, but it amounts pretty much to it. So, 4 in 10 fear having children due to climate change, global survey says. I know, what does this have to do with the leftists being afraid of having children? Who do you think is scared of climate change the most? I just say, who do you think are the ones who are most terrified of climate change at this point? It isn't those of us on the right. I mean, I'll say this, I remember growing up in our school having to watch The Inconvenient Truth telling us that Florida would be underwater in 2012. Now, I'm not saying that climate change isn't happening. It's obviously happening. Now, what our impact is, we don't entirely know. We know the Earth has always been changing. It's just kind of the way it goes, right? Places that are now open and fertile land at one point were scorching deserts, and places that were frozen wastelands at one point were lush forest. We don't know. Maybe we're just going back to that. Who knows? I mean, we're still working this out. But the issue is, for those of us on the right, we aren't really scared of having children due to something like this. None of us are, because we have a different ideology when it comes to children. We feel children can help solve many of the problems that are going on in the world if we raise them right. But of course, leftists are always afraid of having children. But let's see what what these people are saying. So an internal poll of some 10,000 young adults has revealed that tomorrow's leaders feel betrayed by elder generations when it comes to managing climate change. Published in the Lancet? All right. Tuesday is the largest study yet that measures young people's response to environmental policies, or rather lack thereof. Responses from thousands of participants in 10 countries: Australia, Brazil, Finland, France, India, Nigeria, the Philippines, Portugal, UK, and the US, pointed to a significant anxiety prompted by talks of climate change. About 75%, 75 of those aged 16 to 25 concur with the statement, "The future is frightening." Well, I mean, is that in context of climate change, I wonder? I mean, future is always frightening for people that age. It's just the way it is. While about 60% said they are very or extremely worried about climate change, more than 50% believe they'll have fewer opportunities than their parents at their age. Furthermore, some 40% are hesitant about become parents out of fear they'll bring a child into a sun-scorched, voided wasteland. Yeah, the worst part is I remember crap like this. I really do. I remember in high school where people were like, no, we can't have kids. We're running out of land. Florida's going to be underwater in 2012. California will be kaput. It's all still there. Why? Because we found ways to work around the issues that do come up. And for the most part, their studies were wrong. They keep being wrong, it seems. It just seems to be how it goes. But there is something funny here. 50% believe they'll have fewer opportunities than their parents at their age. I'm tired of that argument. I am sick and tired of it. You have more opportunities than your parents. You just do. Is it harder for you to buy a house? Yeah, maybe. Is it harder for you to have a standard median income in America? Yes, to a certain level, that's true. But guess what? I guarantee you, even those of you who are making less, not less, but those of you who are making, I don't know, $20,000 a year, so, a low amount, right? Definitely a low amount, right? $20,000 to $30,000 a year. You can live off it, but it sucks. You still have more opportunities than your parents. Your parents didn't have the damn internet, people, all right? Your parents couldn't have access to everything at their fingertips. Do you understand how privileged you are? I mean, I got traveled out of the country and I saw people who were in real just living terribly. I mean, I came back here in my crappy $500 a month apartment where, I didn't have a stove or anything. I was living in basically a hotel room is what it basically was. I got turned to apartments. It sucked. Cockroaches everywhere. And I got back and I was like, you know what? This isn't too bad. This really isn't too bad. I got a roof over my head. I got a microwave to heat up some meals. And guess what? I had a freaking smartphone. I had access to everything at my fingertips, right? I could learn new things. And that's what I did. I spent my time learning. If you really think you have less opportunities than your parents, you are lazy. You are simply lazy. It is as simple as that. Well, our time's going to be tough. Heck yeah. Are they going to be as bad as what your parents went through? I'm sorry, they really are not. We're going to go through different challenges. They're going to be have a different kind of struggle, but they're not going to be the same struggle that our parents went through. We are standing on their shoulders. It's as simple as that. But that gets off, that tangent aside. 40% of them are hesitant to become parents because they're worried of what they'll bring their child into. You know what? If you're that stupid, then I'm glad you're not having kids. All right, I'm just going to say, not everyone should have kids. If you're too stupid to realize the fact of, even if you believe in this crap, you should at least acknowledge that if you raise your kid right, they could help create the solution to this problem. They can help create the solution to whatever might be facing this, facing our species. You don't know who's going to be that person who leads the way. Obviously, we hope all of our children, all of us hope our children will help lead the way in some form or another. If you think that this is a bad thing to have a kid because of what is happening in the world, I would say that's because you would be a bad parent. You're worried about them just becoming part of the problem, not part of the solution. That's your big issue. Raise them right. It's as simple as that. So Mitzi Tana, 23-year-old environmentalist activist from the Philippines, told The Guardian that young people are reckoning with betrayal because of government inaction. Therapy won't fix their anxiety, she offered. Well, I probably actually agree with that. To truly address our growing climate anxiety, we need justice. Again, they always want to use this damn word justice. They don't know what the hell justice actually means. Jesus. Yeah, she isn't wrong, though. Therapy's not going to fix these people's anxiety. They're too far gone in a lot of cases. It's sad, but true. All right, but they've been indoctrinated into a cult, just a full-on cult. You could show them science that basically, says they're wrong in many ways, and they still would just, they don't even want to hear it. At least even people who I know who are full on, just don't believe in it whatsoever, a lot of them are at least willing to hear you out when you start listing out, well, yes, we have dead zones in the ocean. That's not good. The Great Barrier Reef, guess what? It is starting to go away a little bit. That's a problem. We have a lot of problem when it comes to the amount of bugs. I mean, really, we're actually down on bug population across the world, and that actually is going to have that's going to have a ripple effect through the entire food chain. Well, there are multiple things that are happening in our environment that we should protect and be careful of, right? There are problems. There totally are problems. But this idea that, climate change is going to create the end of the world scenario. And these are the people who march around saying, repent, repent. I mean, they're full-on cultists. That's what they are. And therapy isn't going to fix it at all. It's not the first study to suggest that young adults are hesitant to enter in what many might regard the next stage of life. It just is the next stage of life. What many would regard. It just is. Starting a family, a smaller study last year suggests as much as 96% of adults are very or extremely concerned about the impact of climate change in on their current and potential offspring. I guess I'm in the 4%. Am I worried that my son might not get to see some of the great things I've got to see in nature? To a level, yes. I've got to scuba dive in some cool places, and with some of the issues happening in those areas, I am somewhat concerned that my son's not going to get to see some of those cool things, but I also think he's going to go on and see other things that I can only imagine, right? I also see, a world where he can hopefully help be part of the solution, right? And that's what we want. We want our children to, again, lead the way. So am I worried about it? Not really, because I have faith in him. I have faith in my kid. I have faith that he will make the right decisions, because I have faith that me and his mom are going to raise him right. They don't have faith in their own parenting skills at the end of the day. That's the truth. They have no faith in their own parenting skills. Or they're just going to be helicopter parents in jail and just, no, we got to shelter them from everything. They have a right to be worried. No, they don't. According to recent editorial co-signed by more than 200 top medical journals, they warned that climate change will cause catastrophic harm to the health globally, pleading for emergency action by world leaders. And children will be the ones left to deal with the devastation in a new report, the first to index the impact of climate change on children specifically. The UNICEF suggests, that's a long name there, it's a matter of child rights, estimated that 1 billion of them are now at extremely high risk of incurring negative impacts associated with the climate crisis. Here's my problem. What defines the climate crisis? Really, what defines it? They keep telling me hurricanes define it. The hurricanes are getting worse and worse each year. I live in an area that gets a lot of hurricanes, and I have to say, we get some bad ones some year, we get some not so bad ones some other years. Like, I don't really see a change in her. I mean, I'm young, so there's that. But my grandparents, they keep saying, they lived on the coast their whole life. They haven't really noticed any difference in hurricanes. In fact, they keep saying hurricanes are actually getting better, not worse. They said they had much worse back in the day. However, that might be technological, issues. They had less to work with. But that also leads into that, right? As weather changes, we start coming up with solutions. We see a problem, we strive to fix it. Of course, everyone likes to point to how in New York there was the horse poop problem when before automobiles were made. They were concerned that it's impossible for this to ever keep going because you just have this pileup of horse crap everywhere and there's nothing to do with it all. And the automobile came about, right? Overpopulation, it's going to be the death of all of us. It's going to be terrible. And now we can kind of go wherever we want. And because of that, we can actually spread out even further and further and further. And with new technologies, we can live in more remote areas that before we thought we couldn't, right? People don't have to live in cities anymore. We can actually spread out even more, which is fantastic. Overpopulation so far has not become an issue yet. And guess what? When it becomes an issue, more than likely at that point, we might look to space, and there's solutions to the problems that we just can't imagine yet. And technology changes remarkably fast. Let's also not forget that. I mean, those who are alive to see the Wright brothers do their first flight, and as a North Carolina boy, of course, we love the Wright brothers, right? First in flight. We developed flight. Take that, rest of the world, and all the other states. We created flight. But people were alive that saw the first time man took flight, that were also alive to see us land on the moon. Technology evolves remarkably fast as the need for it arises. As climate change occurs, and if it does start ramping up and gets terrible, guess what? I have confidence that we will find ways to overcome this as we overcome all problems that have ever plagued humanity. Right? We are a remarkable species. We are truly remarkable. And when you look at the history of mankind, it's nothing but a history of us overcoming problem after problem, and in the end, making it out the other side. I am not concerned too much that my kid is going to grow up in a hellhole of climate change, because I do believe it's an issue that we can fix through technological innovation. I believe that can happen, so I'm not that concerned for them. But the people who are concerned about it are people who have been bought into this cult. And these are leftists. And the good part is, if they don't have kids, well, us normal people start having kids. And so, the people who are, these crazies start to kind of disappear because, of course, they'll age out and they won't have children to come up behind them. Which, of course, is part of why they're always after your children when it comes to the school. When it comes to the school, public school system. But that's a whole nother discussion. But the fact that these people are scared of having children due to climate change, of all things, it makes me wonder what else makes them scared to have children. At the end of the day, I just think of these people, they have no idea of responsibility. They have no idea about giving up something for, of course, their kids. They don't even look at their kids as human beings. They look at them more as just a fawn that needs to permanently be protected. No. These are the people who are going to help solve the problems later down the road. We should want to have more kids. We totally should want to have more kids. I'm all for it. Either way, it was a funny story to see these people apparently freaking out over climate change. I just find it absolutely... I don't know how many times these predictions have to be wrong before these people finally just chill the F out, But what do you think? Are these a bunch of nut jobs? Do they actually have something... are they right when they say that... when they say maybe we should be a bit more hesitant to have kids? I don't think so, but what do you think? If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more, and I will be seeing you again real soon.